Happy Monday to you guys. Hope you're doing well out there. Today I want to talk a little bit about timeouts. Are timeouts effective training tools? Well, I think the biggest thing depends upon what kind of timeout are you talking about? Are you talking about a timeout in which you're doing, timeout, need to think about this for a second here. Back off, let me just think here. Give some thought. A timeout, in other words, a pause in the action. If you are, those are definitely good. Definitely good. Now, there's also the timeout that has to do with punishment. You know how you hear people with parents with their children. That's it. If you do that again, I'm going to give you a timeout. And that means you got to go stick your nose into the corner or something else is going on. So that being said, let me check one second here. I got a little technical issue here. Okay, there we go. Good. Just want to make sure all my technical stuff's working here. So that being said, if you're going to use a timeout as punishment, A, I don't think you should be using it. Number two, I'm not sure if it'll even work. So let's just kind of go over that and just kind of break that down. First of all, what is a timeout? A timeout, again, when I think about it as a pause in action, even if you're going to use it as punishment, it's still a pause in action. But why do dog owners insist on giving their dogs timeouts? Do dogs really equate the fact that, hey, we stopped the action and you shove me in some box or some room over here, and that's going to be punishment? Do they really think it through all the way through like that? And again, I'm going to tell you right now very definitively, no, they don't. No, they don't. So many things can come into play with this. So many things can be, the animal can become habituated to certain conditions, to being in a kennel, for example, being put in a crate, you name it. There's many things that can make you think that the animal definitely believes that my getting put in that crate back there was punishment and therefore I'll never do the act again. That's not happening. So let's talk about timeouts and how they can be used and used effectively and what can happen if you try to use them as punishment. Okay, number one, a timeout, if there's a pause in the action, let's say, for example, I want to pause the action. Maybe Captain has done something that's maybe frustrated. I'm a little bit upset here. This just isn't working for me at this moment here. Maybe I've come home and he's done something terrible while I've been away. Most dog owners, if they're going to use a timeout as punishment, they'll go, get a dog, and they kill him there. Bad dog. Shame on you, dog. Shame on you. And that's what they'll do. And then they'll walk away. And then they'll come back at some point in the future here, 10 minutes or so, 30 minutes, you name it, come back, let the dog out and go, okay, did you learn your lesson? So let's see if Captain did. Did you learn your lesson? Oh, I think he did. He did learn his lesson indeed. Okay. So they're not going to be used very well or used very effectively as a timeout in the sense that you want to use it as a punishment and to get your point across to the dog. Because animals at the base level, life is nothing more than an exchange of energy for more energy, and a part of that is our ability to adapt to any change in our conditions. So one moment I'm training with Brian. Brian's calling me, Captain, come, right here. Boom, giving me a treat. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're working on heel, we're working on down. Or I was here at the house by myself, chewing on this shoe. Brian shows up, and next thing you know, inside. I'm being put in a kennel. Okay, so for the dog, that's simply a change in my conditions. 1 minute I was doing this, and the next second, I'm in there. So that being said, I'm going to adapt to that change. More than likely, I'm just going to either take a nap, or I can pitch an ever-living fit and see if someone will come open the door for me. But either way, whatever I was doing, whether it was some sort of training, some sort of obedience, or whether I was just chewing on something, it won't matter in a mere few seconds after I get put in that kennel. I shift gears. I've told you guys this before. When animals think and as they approach life, it's literally like the old 35 millimeter film. It's one frame at a time. So I had all these frames going on here with obedience. And next thing you know, I've got these frames. So if someone turned on this camera, now I'm dealing with that camera. You know how we talk about if you ever want a dog to associate a reward with something good that they've done, or any sort of correction for something incorrect that they've done, you have to apply it within seconds. Seconds, because that instant feedback brain. So why do we think that if we place an animal in a crate or in the laundry room or just get it out of our presence, that over the next 30 minutes you're going to sit there and dwell about that, ponder about that, and wonder about that and go, oh geez, I'm in here because I didn't do such a good job on my heeling today. And I'm telling you what, I won't do that again. Just please let me out of this kennel. Let me be with you. Let me have a second shot at it. And you won't catch me lagging on that heel. Or better yet, pulling you next time. Guys, if you're thinking you're teaching your dog that when it's in this, it's not happening. So here's how I use timeouts as an effective tool in training. Couple things. One, when I need it, I need a timeout. I need to just think for a second. I need to go, okay, so this isn't working. So I've been trying X, Y, and Z with the dog. Maybe I need to approach it from an ABC level. Maybe I need to just pause because someone's blowing up my phone and I need to go tend to that. I may need a timeout. I just may be frustrated about something else, and I could be even frustrated with the dog. I'm going, oh my God, I've shown this thing to you 500 times, and you're still not getting it. So I could definitely use a timeout at that moment. And that is by far the best thing to do, because that dogs don't get anger. They don't get our frustration. Again, they are simply learning, improvising, and adapting and trying to change themselves and their actions within a condition that is changing around them at all times. That's simply what we do. And I've said before, get up in the morning, get a little notebook and start writing things down right then and there. Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, well, that's a change in my condition, so I need to go take care of that. Oh, I'm running late. That's a real change in my condition. I better hurry up and get going. I'm thirsty, so I drink. That was a change in my condition. I took care of that thirst. All day long is simply us moving from 1 millimeter frame, 135 millimeter frame to the next 35 millimeter frame. That's all it is, one after another, moving through time. Speed it up a little bit, but nevertheless, no matter how much you speed it up, it's still one frame at a time, and we're constantly adjusting to a change in our condition. So again, I put my dog in here because I need to change my condition, and that's perfectly fine. Do so. If your dog had a fearful moment, maybe you're training, all of a sudden it got too stressful or it encountered something that was kind of scary. It's climbed now up in its arousal column because its stress response has been mobilized. Hey, too high is not good. Not good at all. So you need to calm your dog down. So that would be a good time to say, okay, tell you what, we're going to take a little break here. I'm going to let you have a little nap here, just kind of chill out for a little bit here. We'll start again later when all of this is past, maybe this thunderstorm is past, what have you. So that's a great time to go ahead and put the animal up in the kennel at that point, or to, again, put it away from you. So those are effective timeouts. We use them, but we don't call them timeouts here. Case in point, I really need to work on something very difficult for a dog to pick up. So I'll give it a really short burst of training. Boom, 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 kind of like flashcards. What's 1 plus 1? What's 1 plus 1? What's 1 plus 1? Just showing that flashcard over and over and over again. Boom. After I've done that for about 10 minutes, bam, 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 all that stuff going into the dog's brain. All right, now here we go in a box. That's it. Relax. And when they're doing that, now, just like a human, they tell you all the time, you got an exam tomorrow? Shut the book, turn off the lamp, go to sleep. And again, I just said about this yesterday, your brain has that ability to catalog information, long-term potentiation, across the old highway there, so I can remember this in the next morning. So timeouts are really effective for high-intensity training where you don't want the dog to be distracted immediately after the training. Right after the training, they're super distracted. You take a dog, you've really worked on down, 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 boom, go play. How long do you think your dog's thinking about down? How long are those neurons? How long is that long-term potentiation happening in that brain right then? No, immediately my attention is now on this, and it's on that, and I'm solving this social problem, and I'm taking advantage of this hierarchical situation, and I'm not in the down drive mode. So again, I use timeouts to keep that thing going. Get the dog out, work, 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 put the dog up. Wait about 10, 15 minutes. Dogs back out, work, 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 dogs back up. And do it about 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row. It all depends upon the dog, the day, what you're working on at that particular time. If that's called a timeout, then that is super. And that's I extremely advise you to do that. Because you're going to need a break. Otherwise, you're going to get really sloppy in your handling, really sloppy in your thinking. Take a small break, take a timeout yourself. And that's effective. But by golly, never use this as punishment. As punishment. The only possible way the dog could even begin to think that is punishment, that is a timeout, because I just got in trouble, is if it happens immediately, like, bad dog, terrible dog, get your butt in that kennel and get in there now, and then boom, you kick the door just for emphasis. All right, you do that more than a few times, I'm telling you what, here's what's really going to happen. There's going to be a fearful association with that kennel. So now when you want to use it outside of punishment, game over. Or it could be the complete opposite. That is a safe haven from you. So now I can't wait to get in that. In fact, that's where you'll catch me even when we're not training. When I see you, especially if you're walking up to me with this. That's where you'll find me. So don't let that happen, guys. No, it can create an incredible fearful association with the kennel, which would completely negate its powerful use for lowering the stress response and for calming the animal in long-term potentiation. It would completely negate that. If I'm fearful of this, you put me in it, God, I was already stressed. Now I am doubly stressed. So don't do that. This is a wonderful tool here. And you see Captain goes in and out of this thing like it's nothing. It's nothing because he's used to them. He's used to them. That's a very useful tool. God, I can sit here for the next 30 minutes and just count down how many ways you can use a crate or a kennel for effective training, effective ownership, lowering of your blood pressure. You bet. It's no doggy jail. It's only doggy jail if you make it doggy jail. I don't. I tell cattle dog, inside. Ah, boy, good boy. And of course, when I was first trained to do that, bam. There you go, buddy. There's something good in that darn box right there. He loves going in a box. There's no problem going in that box whatsoever. In fact, he'll just stay in the darn box till I tell him to come out. Come, free. Even if the door's open, even if the door's closed, it doesn't matter. Because it's never been used as a timeout. Never, ever used, as punishment type timeout. It's been used as an effective training tool, timeout. So again, if you're going to use this, use it when you need it. You need a timeout, put your dog away from you so the dog's not making big mistakes right over there because you're not paying attention to it. You need to get focused. You need to get on with the game plan. Then go put the dog up for a little bit so now you can focus. The other thing, if your dog needs a timeout, give them one. So in other words, you may be ready to go. Hey, I got this thing down. I got down what I'm trying to teach you. Why can't you pick that thing up? If you feel your dog is struggling, it just needs a moment, put it up. I guarantee you when you get out of the box, it'll start doing better. And not because it thinks the box is punishment, because you gave me time to think about it. Pause for a moment. Sometimes things come at us too darn quick. How many times have you ever done it? You just say, excuse me, give me a second. Hold on. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So use it like that. So again, timeouts are effective if they're used properly. They're horrible if you ever use them and associate them with punishment. So don't do that. Don't do it. All right, guys, that's it for this Monday. If you found this information beneficial, please share it with someone who you think may be doing this. I don't care what you think. They don't think it as punishment inside that kennel. So it's not effective. It's only harmful if you use it in that way. And if you have any suggestions, any requests for Facebook Live videos, send them my way, and I'll be glad to do them for you here in the future. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk about the 4th of July coming up. We already have people firing off firecrackers in our neighborhood already. We got fireworks already happening, not at the same intensity that they're going to happen this Saturday on the 4th of July, but already I have a few dogs I own that are a little bit tail tucking right now, eyes all wide, because they're going, oh no, oh no. So how do we spare our dogs of that, oh no? I'll tell you tomorrow. It's not that hard. We'll get through it. Okay, so tune in for tomorrow. Until then, guys, have a great day, safe day. I'll check you tomorrow.